Just look at this incredible weather. Blue skies. What a gorgeous day. It's absolutely stunning. It makes all that rain totally worthwhile. What a great way to end the year. Beautiful, beautiful skies. Sun shining. I'm supposed to be working on my January plans post and my December wrap-up post. But I feel like it's so nice outside, and I've basically been hiding inside for most of this month, that I'm going to push on with one more job this morning before I actually get to work on that video, so I can cross it off my list. I haven't done any work at all on the patio or on my bathroom, and those were kind of two jobs that I wanted to get a start on. And I just feel like today is the perfect day to be outside doing some physical work. So I'm gonna get to work on my patio, try to clear out a little bit more of the dirt, put a little bit more of the gravel in, and then I can check that off my list for December as a job done. So, win-win. And then we'll get into my January plans and December update after that. So, I've made a start on the patio. I'm going to check it off my list. But let's get into the rest of the list for what I accomplished in December and all of my plans for January. And then, once this video is done and edited, I'm going to get back to wheelbarrow stuff, because it's a beautiful day out here and I feel like I've been cooped up for the entire month of December. And I'm really excited to do some physical stuff, shovel and wheelbarrow. I'm a very strange person who really loves to shovel and especially really loves to wheelbarrow. So I'm happy to be doing this, but I have a video to edit, so let's get to that. And then I'm gonna get back to this later on today if the sun is still shining. I thought it was much nicer to stand outside in front of the house rather than cooped up back in that messy area beside the house. So let's go through all the stuff that I did and didn't get done in December, and also including the stuff I didn't do in November. So I've got my red marker and my green marker. Let's go through all the stuff. All right. It's hard to read, but I'll read it for you. Insulate door. Done. I still don't have a window in there, but I've got the insulation pressed into the door, so I'm calling that one done. The window will come. I'm not sure if it'll be January, but definitely by February. Definitely maybe by February. The greenhouse, I put the little lid on the greenhouse, and of course the weather's been super mild and the greenhouse has been completely and totally unnecessary. Plus, I think I'm getting a polytunnel from a website that's giving it to me in exchange for a review, so I'll do that setup and everything in a future video in January. But for the moment, the cold frame greenhouse has a lid on it. I haven't needed it, and I might not need it in the future, but the job is done. Overwinter the chilies. Seems like I did this so long ago. Must have been on December 1st or something. They're done. They're all little ghosts sitting in my garden, and they're nice and cozy. And so if and when this cold weather comes, they'll be hopefully nice and wrapped up, and they'll survive into the spring. Portuguese. This one, also a yes, but kind of a sneaky yes. I went to do laundry yesterday, and while the washing was finishing, I went to the cafe, and I busted out my little Portuguese workbook, and I did a few lessons. And then I went back into my drawing, and then I waited for that for 40 minutes, and I busted out Memorize, and I did a whole bunch of lessons on that as well. So that one has been pushed off, and then down to the wire yesterday on December 30th. I did some Portuguese. So it's not exactly the regular study session that I was hoping to plan or the routine, but I did get started, and getting back into that stuff has made me more motivated to continue with it. I really do like that workbook. I would recommend it to anyone that wants to learn Portuguese, and I assume it's also good for other languages. I think they have a whole bunch of different ones. So, yep. So I'm going to check that one off, though, because I did do some Portuguese yesterday, and I'm feeling motivated to continue. So let's go through December and see how I did. Let's put the green pen away for a moment and bust out the red pen, because replace flue pipes, I didn't get it done. And the reason I didn't get it done is because it's rained fairly solidly for the past 3 weeks. And in order to finish this job, I need to be able to lime in a pipe in the wall, which means I have to be working with lime outside the house, which means I don't want rain falling on it and washing it all away. So I've done the hardest part. I think hopefully what's the hardest part is where I've put the thicker pipe through the wall. I've taken out all those stones, and so I have that thicker pipe in place, but I still need to cut it down to size and lime that into the wall. And then after that's all done, I'll replace all the flue pipes, and I'll have my whole new flue system. So I've done most of the work on this, but it's not completely finished. However, the first week of January looks like it's going to be fairly dry, and that's going to be my top priority. Firewood. Hello, green pen. You can come back now. Firewood's done. My neighbor Chris came over and was a huge help with that. I had a delivery of firewood early on in the month, and it was just sitting in a massive pile in the way. Chris came over, helped me stack it. He helped me chop some kindling, and I'm sorted out for firewood for the foreseeable future. So that was a massive help. Thanks again, Chris, and I can check that one off the list. Build a sawhorse. I want to give this a green one, but I'm going to give it a red. However, I have one teeny tiny little thing to do on this. And the reason I didn't finish it a few days ago is because of the rain. I'm just going to keep blaming the rain for stuff. So this one will be done in the next few days, assuming we have some dry weather. Nag wood guy. Hello, green pen. Not only did I nag the wood guy nicely because he's lovely, I also got my wood delivery soon after that. So I have all the timber that I need to make my tool shed, at least most of it, unless I change the design, which is completely up in the air. I've got all these ideas and I just can't decide on one, but wood is there, the tool shed's ready to go, and once I get to my January to-do list, that's going to feature very prominently. Pull weeds. Meh. I'm going to blame the rain one more time. My garden is more of a swamp, maybe a small pond, so pulling weeds down there at the moment would just be horrible. There's water everywhere, and it's flooded, so I'm just gonna let that do its thing. Hopefully after a few dry days the water will disperse throughout the lands and I can get in there and pull some of the bigger weeds out. Continue bathroom and patio. So this one, kind of cheating. It is December 31st today as I'm doing this, though. The bathroom I didn't do, but this was kind of a combo one. So because I did some of the patio this morning, I'm going to check that off my list. I'm really excited about this job, the patio and the pergola. A lot of you guys gave me lots of comments on that one in my previous video, and seem really excited about that job. I think it's going to be so cool to have plants growing up in front of my house, giving the house shade, and I'm really looking forward to coming out with a design that utilizes a lot of gnarly bits of wood and some natural wood, round wood poles and things like that. So very excited about this project, but the first stage is basically just shoveling and wheelbarrowing, which, as I mentioned, I really love to do. Learn how to sharpen chainsaw. Nope, I didn't do this. I haven't used the chainsaw so much that I need to sharpen it yet, but the main thing that stopped me from doing this is the fact that I don't own the little sharpeny thing that you need. So I need to figure out what one I need for the chainsaw that I have, and then I need to order that or figure out where to buy it and go out and get that. So haven't done it. It's probably more of a concern once I actually start using the chainsaw quite a bit. But for now, I think I'm okay. And I do have lots of friends that can show me how to do this, but I need to get the thing I need, whatever it is. It's like a little raspy thing. And so December was a great month. I feel like I did really well. And the two things that I didn't get done up here, I really wanted to get those done, but they're almost finished. So I feel good about that. And then these two things down here, they're far less important. And so I don't feel so bad that I didn't get them finished. And life will go on. I don't even think I'm going to put them on my list for January, because in January I have toolshed on my mind. So let me erase this board and make a list for January, and then we'll go through that. Okay, let's get on with January's list. I have my pens. January. That says January. You'll just have to trust me there. Okay. 1. January is going to be a fairly simple month to explain because it's all about the tool shed. This project is the one thing that can make my life so much better. Not only because I'm going to really enjoy working on it, but because having a completed tool shed means that I'll have so much more space inside my house to live my life, and that is a good thing. So this is my #1 priority for January. This is a project that's going to extend probably for at least 3 months. I'm going to be timber framing the tool shed. I'm not just going to bash together a bunch of timbers and make a tool shed that's functional. I'm going to go the extra mile and take all that extra time and make a tool shed that I think is beautiful. I want to use timber framing techniques, which means you don't really use nails and screws. You put everything together with joins and you peg it together with big oak pegs. I'm also going to be using natural materials for the walls. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do. It'll either be a combination of slip straw with lime plaster on the outside, or I might do wattle and daub. I'm not exactly sure. I still have the design to do. So the tool shed is the overarching project for the next several months, but there's sort of several parts to that. So maybe what I'd like to get done in January relating to the tool shed would be, first of all, I have to point the wall behind where the tool shed's going to go. So the gable end of my house still needs some pointing work done on it. So I can't really put a tool shed in there until I get that done, because when the tool shed goes in, though it's not going to be attached to the house, it's going to be very close against the house, and that part of the wall won't be accessible anymore. So pointing needs to get done. Also, the foundation. I'm going to do some kind of a rubble trench foundation, which means I sort of dig down a bit, put a whole bunch of gravel in, stamp it all down, and then I build my foundation on top of that. And my foundation is just going to be some concrete blocks. Probably not actual concrete blocks, but something that maybe looks a little nicer. Maybe I even make them myself, I'm not sure. And then the whole tool shed structure will sit on top of those. So it's kind of raised above the gravel, sitting on the concrete, and then on top of the concrete it'll be sitting on something else so that the water can't go up into the wood. Anyway, I'm getting into too much detail about the foundation, but that needs to be done before I can obviously place the tool shed there. While I'm doing the foundation, though, I can also start preparing some of the pieces. So prepare the wood. Prepare some of the wood, so prepare wood. And that just means finding some square pieces, probably pulling out all of the pieces of wood that I want to use for the floor, because that'll be the first thing that I work on. Making sure they're square, cutting them to size, sanding them, planing them if I need to, and yeah, just preparing them and getting them all ready to go. I would love to start actually notching out things and building things, but I'm not entirely sure I'll get to that, especially if it rains a bunch in January. And so the last thing on this tool shed list is nailing down the design. I have a design for the tool shed, but when you do a timber frame, you really need to have all the pieces kind of mapped out, basically kind of like a cut list. So I need to do that, so I know exactly what pieces I need to make, and so I know that the size of the tool shed, so I know the size of the foundation, all that stuff. I need to know what I need to order for the roof, etc., etc. In addition, I would love to also be able to design the space beside the house and have that sort of nailed down, because I'd like the tool shed to tie into the entire design for the side of the house. That could mean firewood storage, it could mean a small garden shed, it could mean places for like recycle bins, a water tower. There's a whole bunch of things that I want to happen there, outdoor kitchen. So it's going to be a really fun project. I'm looking forward to it. It's not essential that I get the whole side designed to be able to start the tool shed, but there is a chance that maybe I'll move the tool shed somewhere else if it doesn't seem like next to the house is the best spot. So I would like to give this a lot of thought in January. And then that's going to be a lot. I think probably not going to bother pulling weeds or learning how to sharpen the chainsaw. At least I'm not going to put them on the list. If those things happen, they happen, but I'm not going to stress out about it. And so the other thing I want to do in January, this is going to be a fairly short list, is more administrative. I'd really like to keep track of all of my expenses in January meticulously. I have tracked many of my expenses probably for the past couple of years, probably up until about April this year when I started the YouTube channel. Once I started YouTube, anything I've done on my computer has generally been related to videos and just trying to learn video editing and all of that stuff. So I haven't done so much tracking of things and keeping track of receipts. But early on, I was putting all of my receipts into a spreadsheet, and I'd like to continue that again. So track expenses. So in January, I'd really like to keep track of everything I buy for the building, grocery shopping, petrol for the car, gas bottles, cooking bottles, which I need to buy soon. Anything that comes up. I think it's something that is going to be interesting for myself to keep track of so that I actually know what I'm spending my money on. And I think it also could be interesting for anyone watching out there that's curious about the cost of living in Portugal. My January expenses, though, are going to be a little different than usual because I'm going to try to go into extreme budget mode in January. I'm kind of on the financial cusp at the moment, especially just having to buy stuff for the house all the time. And I'd like to get my savings up to something a little higher than nothing. Another reason for wanting to really go into budget in January is because a lot of people on YouTube is new to me. Earning a bit of money from YouTube is new to me, but I'm really sort of counting on this income at the moment. And a lot of people say that January is a fairly bad month for YouTube. So in order to hopefully guard against that, I'm going to go on a mega budget, not buy too much for the building, and yeah, see how things work out and just see how little money I can spend. And tracking my expenses is, I hope, a way that I can hopefully try to be more conscious about how I spend my money. So that's it. Tool shed, track expenses, and that's my January. That's all of my goals. This is going to be a mega job. I'm looking so forward to getting started. I know a lot of you guys out there are really encouraging me forward with this tool shed and have been for months. So it's finally happening, and I'm excited to take you on the journey and work on this together. Oops. Anyway, so that's it. And to everybody who's helped me out financially with PayPal or with the super thanks button that's below the video, a big thanks to you guys. I've put all your names down in the show description. It really does help me out a lot. It's just lovely to see people want to support what I'm doing, and it goes a long way, trust me, especially when I'm buying stuff for the building to continue pushing stuff forwards. And also, just thanks for watching. Everybody that watches my videos, everyone that comments, I really do love hearing from people. I find it's just such a positive group of people that comment on my videos, and I always love hearing from you guys. And hi. And this little guy has come to visit. Hey, what's happening? So, from me and Mikey, Happy New Year, everybody, and I look forward to lots of wonderful things in 2023, and I hope you guys also have a great year. Oops, my camera battery died right at the most inconvenient moment when I was just finishing the video. So I have one more thing to say. A lot of people do yearly wrap-up videos, and it was my intention to do one as well, but I just ran out of time. So what I'd like to do instead is have a video where I do my yearly wrap-up, but from when I started my YouTube channel. So that was, I'm pretty sure, April 1st in 2022 was my very first video. And so I'd like to do a yearly wrap-up sometime in early April. But April is also when I moved onto my land a couple of years ago. So in April 2023, that's going to be 3 full years on my land. And I think it could also be a really cool opportunity to do one big video right from the start. I've been filming since before I started my YouTube channel, so I have at least 1.5 years worth of footage that I'd love to show you. And so while I'm working on everything else on the project and on my videos and things, in the background, I'm going to be working on this 3-year wrap-up video that goes right back to the beginning, back to when I started. So that's something that I'm looking forward to working on. I'm looking forward to going through all that old footage, and I hope it's something that you'll look forward to as well. So that's all I have to say, I think. Yeah, that's it. Happy New Year once more. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.